Hey, what's going on? What's going on? This is FC Mozart, Black Mozart with the FC Iron Dojo podcast. All gas, no brakes. You already know how we get it in. All right, so this week we have a very special guest. Very special guest. Um, he's uh, I'm gonna say it like this. He's very motivational, inspirational. I don't think he knows I've been following him for a while, and sometimes I have to wake up and catch his snippets on TikTok to make sure I can get up and get my butt moving. We got Chaplain Colonel Khalid M. Shabazz, PhD, I should say doctor. We're gonna bring him in, and I'm gonna tell you this. This is I'm a big time Muhammad Ali fan. You know, I'm a fighter as well, so on the sport karate scene. So I'm gonna put the quote he uses down here. He uses it all the time, and it gets me pumped up. I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fast, and I can't possibly be beat. I'm telling you this, Colonel Dr. Shabazz is in the gym. I'm telling you, he pushing up the whole gym. So without further ado, let me bring him in.
Woo! I'm excited to be here, man.
Oh
It's
yeah, oh yeah.
interesting. I'll follow you as well. I love motivational people. I love people who are inspired and doing that thing.
Also, it's definitely good to finally actually have you on the show. And we're gonna go over some of the accolades here shortly. But I just want you to, kind of tell my listeners something that you want us to know about you. Let's start off. Where you from? Let's start off with that one.
Yeah, I am actually from Alexandria, Louisiana. My father was in the Air Force. I'm when I say I'm from there, I grew up there, but actually I was born in Limestone, Maine, which is very interesting.
Okay. So um, that brings me to a little bit of your upbringing. We ain't gonna touch too much because we want to get into some of the good stuff. But you saying you from Alexandria. Alexandria is a pretty rough place, a really rough
Right.
place to grow up in. I was stationed at Fort Polk, and during my younger days, and we used to get in a lot of trouble down there in Alexandria. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Um, but how was that upbringing with your dad being in the Air Force, and did he rule with the iron fist, or tell us something about that?
Well, he didn't rule with the iron fist, as in most black families. He didn't choose to stay, unfortunately, for whatever circumstances. And like most, African American men, I didn't understand this until I grew up and
Mhm.
became a man. There are a lot of extenuating circumstances that push us out of the door. If we're not disciplined enough to understand it and visionary enough to understand the statistics of leaving out of those families.
Okay. Well, so let me get into this. So now that I mean, in that circumstance, um, just give us a brief overview of how you got to where you at. What motivated you back then to say, you know what? Because I know I followed some of your stuff. I
Right.
follow everything, but I noticed you said you had some issues and run-ins with the law that they kind of got you to get your mind right or things like that. Can you caveat on that?
Yeah, let me give you a kind of a overall a wave top synopsis, and then hopefully
Okay.
your audience can understand. So, my journey started, unfortunately, um, in a bedroom, being molested by a family friend at 10 years old, and because I was molested, of course, that sends out a whole host of difficulties with self-esteem, self-worth, and just having you hadn't even came into who you were supposed to be at this point. And so now, because of that, I go into special education in the eighth grade, failed the
Mhm.
ninth grade, failed the 12th grade, and I had to walk in summer school. Didn't get to walk with my class. So now I'm still dealing with these sort of self-worth problems. And to be honest with you, you know, at that point, you don't know because of all the things around you, whether you're a doggone man or a woman,
Mhm.
because you've been molested and all of these thoughts are going through your head. So I go to college and God blessed me with a big body. I'm about 6'5", 275 pounds. So I got to go to college to play sports. But people didn't know, even though I was good at sports, I was drinking myself to sleep at night
Mhm.
because I thought I wasn't worthy. I thought I had bad self esteem. And the only time I found some self esteem was on the basketball court. Well, that's only an hour and a half. So every Friday and Saturday, I'm drunk and I'm fighting. Well, that came to a head one weekend. Guys got tired of me bullying them, and I was in the club, and you know, four or five guys jumped me. I ended up getting shot in the back, beat with a shovel, and almost lost my life. So they airlifted me out to Tyler Medical Center, where I almost lost my life. Right after then, you would think I went home, I recovered. You would think I would come back with a little sense. But as you know, in our culture, there's a lot of dysfunction in our culture, right? So the young man, I saw him some about 6, 7 months later in the same
Mm-hmm.
spot, and you would think that your friends at that point say, "Hey, man, Michael, you know, stay, hey, go, let's get up out of here." But no, my friends gave me a sawed-off shotgun and a 45,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted me to eliminate this guy. And I was in the mindset that I wanted to eliminate this guy. But just like you and I are motivators, inspirational people, there's always somebody there to listen or to give you good advice. And that's the importance of guys like me and you. You know, there's one guy that I respected. His name was Ace. God rest his soul. He said, "Son, man, I'm gonna get teary eyed here. I always get teary eyed." He said, "If you do that, you're gonna let down your mom."
Mm-hmm.
And that's a trigger for me because I love my mom. Rest in peace, Queen. Um, and I decided not to kill that guy that day.
Mm.
I can't tell you I was in my right mind because I still took a crowbar and I went in the club and beat him pretty bad. I was
Mm.
arrested that night, went to jail, and I tell you, man, you're talking about blessings. So I went. By the time I got seen by the judge, I came in and I was despondent, crying, whatever. And she was calling me all kind of names. One I
Mm.
remember because I had to go and look it up. She called me fecal matter.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, she
yeah.
called me a fecal matter, a thug, worthless. And she said, "Son, before I do whatever I'm gonna do to you, do you have anything to say for
Mm.
yourself?" I said, "Well, ma'am, this guy shot me 6 months prior. I was afraid for my life, and I was just protecting myself." She
Mm.
said, "What?" So she called the counselors up, and we know people lie.
Yeah.
This day, these people told the truth. They said, "Yeah, ma'am, that happened." She let me go that day, brother.
Mm.
I
Wow.
went back to Louisiana. I worked as a janitor slash. I think I lost you.
Oh no, you back.
Okay, yeah. So I went back to Kmart and worked as a janitor slash cashier. And my girlfriend at the time said that she was pregnant, so I decided to join the army.
Okay.
Within the first year, I received two Article 15s,
Yeah.
suicidal ideations. But it was again one man like me and you who decided to take me under his wing.
Yeah.
Um, Sergeant Major. I became, his mentee, and
Mm.
then that prepared me for where I am now. I was sitting in the field, just converted to Islam,
Mm.
changed my name, and the unit was, oh my God, they were like, "You are the enemy now," and why did you do this and all this kind of stuff. So I'm sitting in the field. I was field artillery, and I was crying, and I see this chaplain off in the distance. I was like, man, God, if you got any mercy, please don't send that guy to me.
You
Who
know,
wants to talk to the chaplain?
and you know what? I realized too. I think when we had around, I would say, what was it? I would say 2002 to 2003 when the war first kicked off around that time frame. Um, I realized that a lot of personnel in the military, we just had this stigma about Muslim, like, oh, this the
Yeah,
enemy, this, and even my mom had that. And I was telling her
right,
how I met a guy in Afghanistan named Raheem, and he actually took me in and helped me pray and get through my depression stages. And she, oh, they're
right,
the enemy in Islam. And I was like, well, you're saying that because you're not, I'm not gonna call sit here. I love my mom to death. I'm not gonna call her
right,
uneducated. I'm just saying she
right.
didn't fully understand, the Muslim faith or the Islam faith.
That's
She
right.
just
That's right.
she just basically, I guess, paired the radicalism, the radical personnel with Islam, and that's not the case. So, with
Yeah,
that,
it's
yeah,
not, and it's still prevalent in 2022. And I'll tell you some stories about that in a
yeah.
minute. It hasn't, to me, it hasn't changed a lot.
Hmm.
And honestly, so that's why I'm on the internet so much. But when I saw that chaplain, I begged for him not to come over there, but he came over there and talked to me for about an hour. And
Mm.
he said, "We've received our first Muslim chaplain on active duty." This was 1993. And
Oh,
he said, "Why don't you become a guy to help people like yourself?" And I got to tell you, brother Sean,
wow.
man, it was like the heavens had opened up to me for the first time. When I came out of his mouth, I knew that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life.
So was that like
Uh,
a aha moment? Like, you know what? I've done
yep,
all this stuff in my past, that's got me here. Maybe I should
yep,
make a difference.
yeah. It was all of that. It was like symbiotic. It
Mm.
registered in my soul.
Oh, okay.
What's interesting about that, I wasn't a religious guy. It wasn't like I was, sitting around praying all day,
Oh.
and going to church and reading the Bible all day. But when
Mm.
he said that, man, it just it hit every fiber in my body, and I said, "This is what I'm going to do." And I went home to my wife and told her I was going to be a chaplain. I wish we had iPhones then, and I could have been live. She was looking at me like, "What?" You know
So,
what I'm
so
saying?
you telling your wife that this is what you want to do. What was her first reaction of? Was it what? Not? Am I talking to the right person?
It was the look, man. Your wives have a look, or the people close to you have a look of like you can't be serious, right?
Oh yeah.
And my wife is like super supportive, so she didn't say anything. She just looked at me like, chaplain, because I'm going home at this time. I'm telling her I'm still drinking. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
like getting drunk. I mean, I'm still doing, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So to walk home, and say, "Hey, met this inspirational guy today. I want to be a chaplain," right? Yeah, it was a bit much.
So, and can you I know you said something. Can you speak about this? Because I had this issue too as well. I came back from deployment. I was drinking every night. I even know how much the liquor costs down to the cent. So when I go to the shop at, I can get my ENJ and all that good stuff. But I realized that I kind of put that. I was very depressed in these times, and that's the reason why I could get away from if I was in the working out, not working out. I would say more or less teaching martial arts, but I would teach martial arts and go back to drinking. But is there some advice that you can give, the my listeners as far as if they in that state, like how can they get out of that? Like what was your moment to where you like, you know what, this is what I want to do now? How did you quit that, that drinking stage? Because that's not hard to
Well,
quit.
I think everything is about a progressive attitude, right? So I
Mhm.
didn't go home and say, "Hey, I want to be a chaplain. I'm gonna stop drinking."
Yeah.
What I did was, you're talking about, I had a 12 pack in the refrigerator, and I said every Monday I'm gonna, take one of these beers out of here,
Hmm.
and wean myself out of this. I think a lot of times when we get these missions or we want to change ourselves, we want to do it cold turkey, and that works for some people, all right? But for me, it didn't work. Most of us need a waning period. So, over a period of about 12 weeks, I stopped drinking because I just took one bottle out every Monday. The same thing with reading and educating myself. I mean, you read a book and you just fall asleep. So I promised myself I was going to read 3 minutes a day.
Okay.
And then every Monday I was going to increase that until I got to an hour. And that's what I did.
Yeah. And so, and this is what I see too is that I look at your story and I look at, how far you've come. And then I know personally, but a lot of us don't know, a lot of people don't know that they look at, when they're starting off, right? They like, oh well, Dr. Shabazz, this look where he's at. I want to be where he's at, but they don't realize where you started from. All they see is
Right.
where you at now. And so I'm glad you said that it's progression in stages because everybody wants, I want to have 4 degrees. I want to do this, do that, but they don't realize you got to start from the grassroots first, and then get to
Yeah,
where
right.
you at. And
Yeah.
that's what I like, because how you came across and you said in stages, and people don't see that nowadays. They just want the end result, but don't want the work that came with it for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was, talking to this young guy one time. I came off and I was doing one of these motivational speeches, and
Mm-hmm.
he said that. He said, "Hey, I want to be just like you." And I said, "Man,
Mm-hmm.
are you sure?" I wasn't really trying to, discourage the guy, but I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "No, I absolutely want to be just like you."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "If you want to be like me, you got to do what I did, right?" And I said, to get here, sometimes I'm sleeping 3 hours a night. I'm in the gym at 3:30 in the morning, so
Ooh.
I can make my day efficiently enough so I can accomplish all the things I want to accomplish. Because once you get this burning desire to be inspirational and you want to do better in your life, you realize you don't have a lot of time, right? When you're
Mm-hmm.
just kind of sitting around wasting 4 or 5 hours, it's easy.
Oh
But when
yeah.
you're trying to overtake not only your indiscipline but overtake the world, you don't have a lot of time. So,
Yeah.
a lot of times I'm getting up 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning so I can just fit into my day. So people always ask me, how did you get two doctorate degrees and four master's degrees? Well, the
Yeah.
equivalent of five now. Well, what I did was every human being that I know, everyone,
Mm-hmm.
wastes at least 8 hours a day, right? So,
Oh yeah. Yeah,
so,
they do.
so what I did was I said to myself, I'm gonna take 4 of those hours back. They're mine.
Yeah.
And so so whether it's working out or like say I love sports, but
Mm-hmm.
sports for me is one of the biggest time killers ever of people who are not serious about life. And this is not a knock on anybody. But what I say is those guys are millionaires.
Oh yeah.
They're leaving millions to their children's children. So I
Yeah.
said, I love sports too much. I'm not going to stop watching sports. But what I'm going to do is I'm only going to watch the second half,
Yeah.
right?
The
Because I
most
need to
important
get
half.
that time back. The most important half. That's right. So I could work on myself. So maybe one day I can leave some money to my children. So I just stole time back from, the little
Okay.
things that I was doing. That's all.
Yeah,
So
and
it
so
created more time for me to get my education.
my question is, of course, I love fitness as well. Um, what is the important, like, what is the value or the importance that you hold to you as far as getting up so early to work out? Because I know my motivation of or my inspiration of why I get up so early, but what is deep down in you that makes you like, when you wake up, you like, man, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I'm in the gym, but this is you have to have a reason why.
Well, the reason why for me is mental health. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a person since 30 years old, since I've woken up, I have to accomplish something every day for me.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about going to the job, right? That's
yeah,
for somebody else.
yeah.
You're producing, whether you're in the army or not, you're producing something for someone else,
Okay.
right? I decided that I was going to do something every day for me. And
Mm-hmm.
so if I can get up at 4 o'clock in the morning when nobody's in the gym, that's strictly for me. Nobody needs to see. I need to go in there, grind, and push myself
Yeah,
because as you know, if you master yourself, you can master the whole world. Second thing is when you master yourself, people can't bring in things that are going to make you weak, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's extremely difficult. I love sleep, right?
Oh
I
yeah.
love sleep. But if I can make myself get up at 4 o'clock in the morning when nobody's making me, when
Mm,
people bring those things that are going to try to bring me down, whether it's women, whether it's money, but whatever
yeah,
it is to get me to set up, I can emphatically say no because I'm disciplined,
yeah.
right? That's a mental discipline, right? When you're running around that track and I see you and you telling people all gas, no brakes, that's
Hmm.
hard. You said the
Yeah.
other day, I don't want to be out here. I heard you, right? I hear you
Yeah.
all the time. And so what you're telling the people is I have the discipline to discipline myself so when people try to bring in things to hurt me, they
Yeah.
can't because I make the decision. That's why I get up so early.
I'm glad you said that. You said it's discipline, and people just don't see that there's everybody wants the shortcut, but the shortcut is discipline. I want to say it's a shortcut. I would say it's more of a secret. To
Yes.
achieving things. And the reason I know here's the reason why people ask me all the time why you running on the track like why you run 5-6 miles on the track. I'm like, you know what? If I can discipline myself to run this many laps around the track, that to me, that does something to me. That basically says that I can stay for the long haul when things get tough. You know what I'm
That's right.
saying? Instead of
That's
running
correct.
running a trail where I see new things every couple feet. Oh, I see this, and that's the problem. Like if I can
Right.
run 32 times around the track for a week or a couple months, I know, hey, when you bring the drama to me, I know I won't. I'll be steadfast.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah,
so
absolutely. Every
we gonna.
person has to do what's toughest for them,
Oh yeah.
or what prepares them for the mental challenges. If I'm at home here, I'm in Texas right now.
Okay.
I go run in the rain. I'm
Oh
really a
yeah.
gym guy, but
Oh
I'll go
yeah.
run in the rain, right? Or if it's snowing, I would use when I was younger, I'd run in the snow because I was
Ooh.
training my mind. Because it's interesting about life. I
Mm-hmm.
was in Germany, and when the army tells you to get up and run in the rain, you run in
Yeah.
the rain.
Yeah.
When we're in Germany, when the army tells you you got to run in the snow and you slipping all down on the ice, you run,
Oh
because
yeah.
that's tied to the consequences of somebody could punish you. But what about yourself, man? That's what I always think. Like,
Yeah.
somebody's telling me that's indentured servitude. So they paying you. So you go do
Yeah.
all these crazy things, but you can't get yourself up to do them. Now
Yeah.
you're a slave to your own uh, mediocrity, in my opinion.
Yeah, I heard the other day, I can't remember exactly where I heard it from. It was it was Eric Thomas. He says somebody, when you pay for something, you want them to give you a money back guarantee, 30 days money back guarantee, and if it don't work in 30 days, you want your money back. He
That's right.
says, but what about you asking yourself for your money back when you ain't doing what you supposed to? You can't even do what you ask yourself to do. So
That's right.
ask yourself back for your money back. So I said that makes a
Yes,
lot of
sir.
sense. So um
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, a whole
so
lot of sense. And I'll say this before you move on. If somebody asks me, people ask me quite regularly, a lot of
mhm.
guys, because I've been married for 30 years.
Congratulations
They
on that
say,
one.
oh, thank you very much. They say, hey, chap, this is a serious question, no disrespect. Do you trust your wife 100%? I want you to listen to the answer. I said, emphatically no. And they say, wow, but you've been married 30 years. I said, brother, I don't even trust myself 100% because I've broken promises to myself.
Mm. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh man.
So you, right? I
Preach.
want you listen. Yeah, I want your listeners to hear that. You're gonna trust somebody 100%, and you don't even trust yourself 100%. That's foolishness, right?
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, that's crazy. So I
But
mean, we
people
got to
do
be
it.
real. Yeah, we got to be real in our speech, and that's why when the other people on the other side of the relationship
Mhm.
leave them, they want to kill them or they break down. You know, when you preparing yourself every day, you're not preparing yourself for mishaps. You're preparing yourself to be strong when things happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't do that, right? So anyway, I'm sorry about that. I
Oh
know
no,
you're
no,
trying to
you
move on.
fine, you fine. So,
Yeah,
question for you, because I grew up in Beaumont, Texas, and and I when I seen this, I said, oh, I got to hook them, I got to hook them horns on this one. Um,
right, right.
I noticed that you well, I grew up a UT fan, especially during the times of Vince Young. And we've had our
Yes,
issues as being a fan of the Longhorns, but I'm gonna stick with them. But my question is, this stood out to me. You're a chaplain, and you were a 2020 Ward College graduate. Did
yes.
you get any like eyebrows raised that like, why is a chaplain going to Ward College?
Yeah, a lot. And not only that, it's a Muslim chaplain because it's never been done before. All right.
Yeah, so
And so you're there, and I got this crescent moon on, and if you know anything about war college itself,
hmm
first of all, it's
hmm
only 2% of the people in the Army make colonel. And
hmm
then you got to go for African American. If you look at my class picture, uh, it's only two of us in the class picture. And to be quite honest with you, the other guy who was in the class picture, he was in the
hmm
wrong picture. Right. So seriously, he ran up. He just took a picture, and we all laughed at him because he wasn't in our class. So I was the
Oh
only
wow.
black dude in war college, right? And so
hmm
when you think about that, and then I mean, you gotta take the odds
hmm
of not only being black, making war college, and then being Muslim because it's never been done before, I had zero chance, right?
Mm.
But it goes back to our conversation. There are going to be thousands of people in this world who don't believe in you, and you can't be one of them, right?
Yep. Yep.
I believed that I was going to get here one day,
Mm.
and I just kept putting in the work. I took the racism, I took the discrimination, I took the slights. I just go home and go to the gym and lift up the gym and go back the next day and take my blows again.
Oh
When I
yeah.
walked into my first battalion, brother, this be interesting to you. I walked in to shake the lieutenant colonel's hand. He
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't shake my hand. He said, "We got some problems with your religion and how you guys treat women. Have a nice day."
What?
Yes, sir. Wouldn't talk to me for 9 months. So,
He's
you know,
he said, hold up. He said he has a problem with the Muslim religion, or
yeah,
or
yeah,
because the way
religion,
you treat
Muslim
your women.
religion.
Has
He
he
said,
has
"We
he
got."
has he been in the United States long?
He was a battalion commander.
Okay, because
He was my battalion commander. He was my first commander.
okay, I'm just
Uh,
wondering.
yeah, no, he's been here, but that was 2000. That was the year 2000, 1999, and you can get away with that. But for
Wow.
me, and this is what I want people to understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those things, they are here and they have always been here. So what do you do? Do I go cry? Do I go run the EO? Do I go to IG?
Mm-hmm.
People who do that, I have no problem with them. But for me, right?
Mm.
I needed to be strong in that moment. I said, all
Yeah.
right, sir, I'm gonna just go out here and I'm gonna work my ass off. That's exactly what I told him.
Wow.
And so
Yep.
let me tell you something. That's what I did. I went out with the soldiers. I played ball. I was on a post basketball team. I lift weights for soldiers, taking care of soldiers. And
Mm-hmm.
I made such an overwhelming impact, kind of like I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Them soldiers basically was running in his office every day telling him what an incredible guy I was. And he came out in front of the battalion and apologized to me and gave me a coin.
Wow. That takes a
Yeah,
lot. That takes a lot. To
it
admit you was
does.
wrong and then come out and but that speaks volumes for him as well, but it also speaks volume for you is for the impact that you were making. You didn't sit there and try to convince him. And you can't do it. A lot of people try to do. They try to convince somebody to like them or convince somebody to take a liking to them. And you was like, okay,
Right.
sir, got it. That's how you feel. It's kind of like the I can show you better, I can tell you mentality.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So,
right.
and that's what you did, and
Uh,
that speaks volumes. Like and I know that probably did it get to you a little bit that he said it, or did it just spark that
oh,
fire? Like what?
oh no, it
Bet.
did both. It did both. And I went home. I went to my car and cried. But
Mm,
also I understood because one of the important things about watching these autobiographies, man, still watch them today.
mm-hmm,
Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Muhammad Ali. When you watch these things constantly, right? Not just the
mm-hmm,
motivational guys, the motivational speeches. I watch people's hard times,
mm,
right? And so when you become an inspirational figure, that's coming for you, right? It's gonna
yep,
be a lot of people hate you, and so I draw strength from them. So as you said, when at the end of all my little 3-minute videos, I'm young, I'm
oh
pretty, and
yeah,
I can't possibly I must be the greatest, right? I'm
yeah,
telling myself, like, listen, prepare yourself for war
yeah,
because the whole world is against you. Because I mean, let's be honest now. I'm breaking down a lot of stereotypes, not only
mm-hmm,
with Muslims, but I'm African American male. I'm
mm,
educated, I'm articulate, and I'm bold, right? And I'm
mm-hmm,
and I'm not lazy. So all these are
yep,
stereotypical things that now I'm putting on the internet for the last 12 years, by the way.
mm-hmm,
And there's some people out there who are vicious and
yeah.
nasty. I don't get the best jobs. I don't, I mean, I should be the army poster boy if you ask me, but
So-
but yeah, people think I'm a little bit too cocky and too arrogant, but that has nothing to do with me because I'm not.
and I think
It
people
has something
just,
to do with that perception.
I think people misconstrue that, your confidence and loving yourself as being cocky and arrogant. There's
Right.
there's there's a difference, and
That's right.
I think people are just us as a society, when we see that, the first thing was, oh, he arrogant. And I'm gonna tell you how I actually met you, not met you, but how I actually came across you was and I'm not gonna put any names out or anything like that, but it was a guy I knew
Right.
who I served with. I guess he ran across your profile, and I guess
Yeah. Yeah.
he had a little. I don't know if it was back and forth. I guess he said something on your post or something like that, and you kind of, I ain't gonna say set him straight, but you kind of spoke what you had to speak, whatever the case
Right.
was.
Right. Right.
And then he sent it to me and he was like, oh, this and that, that, and the third. So, I mean, of course, I didn't say nothing at first. I was just like, well, let me check
Right.
it out because I had no clue. So I said, let me check it out. And so I started looking. I'm like, well, no, he's not arrogant. He's confident. There's a difference.
Right.
So, and
Right.
then ever since that day, and I think I was like, that must be God because God put me, he brought somebody over to me and they
Yes.
sent me to you. And now, like, I just laugh when I see you say, I'm young. I can't possibly be beat. I'm like, that's confidence, man. Like, you're not supposed to think somebody gonna beat you. That's like when when I step in the ring, I
Yes.
feel through my training I'm gonna win. Now the outcome
That's
might be
right.
different, but why would I beat myself up before I even get in there? You know,
That's right.
and so that's the
Absolutely.
biggest thing is that I still don't understand why the with everything you've done, the somebody who could still have the malice. I ain't gonna say malice. That's kind of deep. Have the
Right.
have it in their heart to be like to say, you know what? I don't like this guy. Like, why not? I'm not understanding. You're educated.
Well,
You know, you a hard worker.
yeah. Right.
So and you help me. You'll give the shirt off your back. You know,
Absolutely.
and so that's what
I've
I'm
put
trying to figure
80
out.
people. I put 80 people through to officer school. Literally have helped.
Hmm.
I won't name people, but I literally help write people's papers in
Mm,
PLDC, SLC, and including the Sergeant Agents Academy. Right. I set up a scholarship fund
mm,
for NCOs, and been able to get their bachelor's degree. We're at the Sergeant Major's Academy. I was there teaching ethics, and I
hmm.
noticed the disparity between, the officer schooling and the enlisted school, because I was enlisted for 5 years.
Okay.
And I called my people who I was teaching at that school, and we put, schools at the Sergeant Major Academy. So,
Okay.
what's my point to that? If I was arrogant, I'll just sit back and brag on my own self.
Yeah.
But I'm
You.
not doing that. I'm trying to inspire the world. And so, to answer your question,
Hmm.
what makes people hate people like me and you is because they really want to be us, but they don't
Mm,
have the integrity and the values to get up and do the things that they don't want to do. So it's
mm.
easier to hate us,
Yeah, you have a
right?
point there. You have
It's
a good point there.
Yeah, it's
So,
easier. I mean, it's just easier. I used to hate on people when I was I think I was a specialist, and they
yeah.
had these guys. They was ironing their uniforms, and they
The good
was
old days.
yeah, they was like squared away dudes.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing nothing, and I was like, look at them old Uncle Toms. Look at them.
Yeah.
They old Sergeant Major boys. But what I
Yeah.
was really saying was, man, them guys are excellent. And I don't
Hmm.
want to do that work. So I'll just hate on them.
Yeah,
And so,
pretty
as
much.
you know what I'm saying? You just
Yeah.
hate on them. Yeah, that's right.
It's easier to do that. So
Yes,
but
that's
through
right.
through, through all this is I want to know, like, through all the, let's just go over it just to name a few. I put them up here, but so you guys can read them up on here. But I'm read a few. He two doctorate degrees. So my sister has a doctorate, and she worked a long time for these, in music. But you have two, so I know the extra work
Yes,
that you had to put in for these. Four master's degrees, a Ward College graduate, recent Ward College graduate in 2020, and the author of three books. And I'm gonna post these books up here. Matter of fact, let me go over here because I'm a screen share this real quick. Um, and then let me go over here and let me pull this up so that way you know where to find this book at. Here you go. If you can see it right here. Um, a call to reason, losing our manhood. It's actually up here. It's time to get it now. All gas, no brakes, because he only has two used copies left and four new copies. And look, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna cop this tonight because I pulled this up today actually. So it's my apologies, but I pulled this up and I'm like, you know what? This book with all this knowledge is the same price as a bottle of E&J. So if I can destroy my life
That's
back
right.
in the day for $12, I can
That's right.
uplift my knowledge of self and buy this book. So
That's right.
what I do is I charge you if you send to my listeners out here, I charge you if you want to go ahead and get this enlightenment. Go ahead and knock this out. It's on Amazon. All you have to do is type in A Call to Reason, Losing Our Manhood, the paperback. Go ahead and knock this out. All right, we're gonna go back up in here and let me go ahead and
Yeah, and the book is about self-esteem. How it's not about me. It's about how to build your self-esteem, self-efficacy, and locus of control, which means really just how to master yourself. And I put all of
hmm
the academic resources in there. And that was what my dissertation was about for my PhD. I wanted to find a way. At the time, I was writing about self-esteem. I had none, believe that. And
mm,
so I was trying to find out academically how to garner that, right? And so that was 12 years ago, and I was
okay.
a captain
Wow.
promotable, right?
And so this was
Even
my
though I had,
question for you. I don't
go
mean
ahead,
to cut you off. My question
go ahead.
is, when did you have time? Like just give us a synopsis on, just time management, how you were able um to get two doctorate degrees, four master's degrees, one college graduate, and write three books. You know,
Well, that goes back to getting up at 3 in the morning.
okay.
So you go in, you knock out your workout. I come back, work out about an hour and a half. I come back, take about 40-minute nap because
Mm,
but you sleepy,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then that ain't no easy stuff to do. You take
Facts.
about a 40-minute nap, and then I'd work on a paper,
Mm,
read a book, and then you know do that. And so for lunchtime, when all the fellas was going out to lunch, doing their thing, I'd come back home or wherever, go to the library and do some reading, write
okay.
some notes, take out some paper, and then go to the gym again in the evening,
Okay.
and then come back home, spend a little time with the family. Once you put the family down, just another hour of reading and writing some notes. And then
Okay.
honestly, um, it's amazing, man, because I did that for 25 years straight,
Mm-hmm.
just trying to become this guy, right? And if I took 30 years to destroy my life,
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew I was gonna need the ample amount of time to recover it. So it's 25 years straight. Last May that I was in school. When I finished war college, I hadn't been back
Okay.
in school, but that's why that's how I did it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
And
how I did
so
it. Just stole some time. Yeah.
so um the what I want to ask is that is so is there a like nowadays there's always people trying to sell tips and secrets and things like that, but we all know it's hard work, but is it something like a strategy that you have for your success, like
Yes.
we map our stuff out like boom boom boom, but what's your strategy for success that
Well,
you have?
I think every person, man or woman,
Mhm,
has to develop a personal philosophy. So
mhm,
the military or these corporations that you go in, whatever you're a civilian, they all got policies. They
mhm.
all got like mission statements, right? Isn't it amazing? We go and read those things and follow those things, and we don't have them for ourselves,
That's
right?
amazing.
And
That's
so,
amazing.
isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
so, 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 I just take what's already there. So I said, my
Okay.
God, I need to develop a personal philosophy.
Yeah.
So I developed the 4 I's, right?
Hmm.
The letter I, but when I say eyes, they eyes like eyes. They give me insight. So I'll
Okay.
say them slowly, and I'll say them a couple of times. Um, interdict mediocrity,
Hmm.
intercept ignorance,
Mm.
infuse excellence, and my favorite is influenced by many, defined by none.
Mm.
Right? And so I'll
Mm.
explain them. Interdict mediocrity. That means whatever I'm going in, I don't care what it takes. I am not going to be mediocre in it. If it
Yeah.
takes me 10 years, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna find a way to be excellent in it. Intercept ignorance. This is the tough one for people, right?
Mm.
Anybody who is in my life who is not comparable to where I'm going, I got to
Mhm.
intercept that ignorance, whether it's in speech. Like, man, how you gonna do that? Like my friends used to tell me, man, you Muslim, ain't no way you gonna make it. I got to get rid of them, Sean. I got to move away from them. I ain't got to stop
Yeah.
being your friend. I'll hit you every once in a while, but we ain't hanging no more,
Yeah.
right? We ain't hanging no more. I'm sorry, right? I got to intercept that ignorance, right?
And
And
that's
so
only right. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Because I'm going somewhere you can't see. And so all those guys back there who was telling me I couldn't do, they are my mentees now. They're like, man,
Mm.
I wish I had the courage you had. Man, you were so strong. It's not that I'm not so strong. I just intercepted that type of ignorance that was going to make me weak, right? It's going to
Okay.
keep me weak, I should say.
Yeah.
So infuse excellence, right? And so this is I need to explain this one. So I got ADHD. I
Mhm.
can't concentrate. I read a book. I got to read it 50 times. Now, if me and you in the classroom, right? You
Mhm.
might have to read it one time. You get an A. I got to read it 25 times to get a C. That's excellence for me. So everybody else has standard of excellence. So don't kill yourself trying to make a 4.0, which I never did in all 8 degrees,
Mm.
right? Never got over a 3.2 or 3, something like that, right? But
Mhm.
excellence for me is doing the best that I can do. So you have to recognize in yourself.
Mm.
I can't say, hey man, Sean, man, you're gonna go run on the track, man, at 1 o'clock,
Mhm.
and I'm taking away from my reading because you're gonna get an A and I'm gonna get an F.
Yeah.
So I gotta have the courage enough that's intercepting that ignorance and say, hey brother, I gotta read for 5 hours. I can't go run with you today,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
because I gotta do what I need to do to pass. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the last
Absolutely.
one, influenced by many, defined by none. I like Martin Luther King. I like Malcolm X. I like some of the modern day leaders, but
Mhm.
they are not me.
Oh.
There's nobody but me. So I pull from all of them. I'm influenced by all of them, but I need to do what's best for me, right? Somebody asked me on my last podcast because I'm a Malcolm X fan, Muhammad Ali,
Mm.
obviously, and both of those guys were totally against the military, right?
Mm. Mhm. Yeah.
These are my heroes, right? And if
Yeah.
they were here today, the guys say, what would they feel about you? I said, I don't care. I mean,
Yeah. You
I'm
got to be
influenced
you.
by them. I'm not defined by them,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And
Okay.
we got to have the courage to say, hey, man, Shabazz, I like some of the stuff you're doing, but I'm not you. Let me pull from some of your goodness and do what's best for Sean.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
So influenced by many, defined by none.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm telling you, look, check this out. Make sure you rewind this and get his basically his quotes right there and what he lives by, because I definitely will, because I got to write those down. So my question is this: is do you have any advice for anybody who wants to? Because I know earlier in the podcast you said that you had a young man, a young gentleman who said he wanted to be just like you. So, what
Yes.
advice for the ones that want to be just like you or following your footsteps? What advice do you have for them?
And my advice is to, when you talk about humility, you
Mm-hmm.
know, ask everybody around you what they did to be successful. All successful people want to share their tips, right? Get out
Mm-hmm.
of your own way, find out um, how you can get ahead. But the most important part of that is, my favorite quote: "If your ship don't come in, swim out to meet it."
Mm. Oh man.
Stop making excuses. Stop saying what the society ain't gonna give you. Stop saying nobody, mama wasn't there for you, your daddy wasn't there for you. They probably wasn't. And they ain't gonna be there for you for the rest of your life. But as I tell my children,
Mm.
I said, it is your life. It's your life. It's a
Yeah.
personal pronoun. Your life. Find out what you need to do to make yourself successful. And when I say if your ship don't come in, swim out to meet it, what I mean by that is you say, hey man, some people try to be funny and say, I can't swim. Well, go get a lifeguard. Yeah, but what
Yeah.
if I drown? It's better if you drown trying to achieve your dream
Yeah.
than drowning
Exactly.
right now doing nothing. Right?
Doing nothing. Exactly. That
That's
exactly.
right.
Hey, so it was funny because I had a old Marine buddy, and he said because we used to be, old PT test. Everybody used to say well, I'm gonna just do the minimum, find the minimum, right? And
Yeah.
he was Sergeant Clark. He would say, man, you got to give it a more than 100%. And he was like, look, picture this. He said, if you give it your all, he said, and you die, at least you ain't got to take the PT test no more.
That's right. That's right. That's
So
right.
I was like, you
That's
know
right.
what?
That's
I
right.
said, I'm gonna give it my all. I say, I said that was the biggest thing. So, and I noticed, I hear that a lot is that, you know, and I like the thing, the statement you said about, you're influenced by many, but you're yourself, right?
Yeah,
Because and I
defined by none. That's
but
right.
defined by none. But I notice, I don't know if you get this, but I get a lot of people that ask me about weight loss and stuff like that. And oh, I can't, I'm not you. I can't run 80 miles a day. And it's the point is that stop trying to do what I'm doing, because you
Yeah,
have
that's right.
a totally different agenda, with your
That's
life,
right.
and you don't know what I've done behind closed doors as far as like the nights and the mornings that I wake up and the times I've cried in the gym because I suck at running and this and that and the
Right.
third. Or
That's right. That's
so
right.
all I ask is, my listeners is to look at what Mr. Shabazz has done and how he's defied the odds. And like I said, this show is against all odds. Went from being shot to molested as a child, and just against all laws. And now, to me, it's no excuse. That's why I say all gas, no brakes. 4 degrees, and
Right.
I'm not gonna keep saying this because to throw it in my listeners' face, but I'm just saying, just look at what you can accomplish when you get to the point where you're, I'm gonna say, fed up with how you were living. You know,
Yes.
so here's the biggest question for me: what's next for Mister Doctor Shabazz?
Well, for me, my ultimate goal is to be a college president. Uh,
Okay.
and the reason for that is because I was in special education, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
driving me. And as an African American male college president,
Mm-hmm.
I think that would show a great precedent of somebody who is, inspirational in that respect. It's going to be at HBCU, but
Okay.
I want to round off my life being a college president. You're talking about a kid in special education.
Mm.
So if I could tell that story 1 million more times to those young students that are there who think they can't, man, what an impact you have. It already is having an impact on soldiers.
Yeah.
Some of our young students in those uh, colleges hear that.
Mm. Mm.
It'd be phenomenal for them.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So as we draw to a close, here's my question: is that um what is the biggest, let me say it, let me see how I can reword, what is the biggest takeaway from this interview today that you want my listeners to know, whether it be about things you've been through, things of that nature.
Yeah. The biggest takeaway, if I could summarize, obstacles are those frightful things when you take your eyes off your goal. I'm gonna say that
Mm.
again. Obstacles are those frightful things when you take your eyes off your goal. You're gonna have thousands and thousands of people telling you it can't be done, it's too hard, you don't have the money, you don't
Mm.
have the background, you dysfunctional, and all these kind of things. But none of that stuff has anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Those are things. Those are their own limitations. I got to bring this back to the gym. You know,
Hmm.
I'm tomorrow. I'll be 53 years old. Right.
Okay.
4 grandkids. I'm doing 8 miles a day and lifting
Ooh.
365 pounds.
Ooh.
Right. And so it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. It has to do
Mm.
with what I'm thinking. Right,
Okay.
because my thinking gets me up every morning and telling me
Mm.
that I need to do that, right? And I'm
Okay.
not running 8 miles. It goes back to what you said. People say, "Well, you're doing 8 miles a day." Yeah, I'm doing 8 miles a day on the elliptical
Yeah.
because
Yep.
my knees are shot. So I
Yep.
can't run, but I can't sit still. So if I could tell
Oh yeah.
your listeners, it ain't about what you're doing. It's about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be doing something.
Exactly. That's
That's
it.
it. Yeah.
As if, oh,
Yeah.
you running 8 miles. Don't worry. Like, look, you like, it's like you looking at the wrong thing, brother and sister. You're
Yes.
looking at the wrong
Yes.
thing. So yeah. So yeah, that's my big. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be honest with you. You are definitely an inspiration to
Thank
myself.
you.
I can only speak for me. I can't speak for
Thank you.
nobody else. But I can say at the age that you are now, and look, you look at me personally. You got me. You know, I'm jacked up because you look every bit of 45.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Thank you very
so
much.
that's a testament to just mental health and fitness. Is that because
Right.
if you look at it, when mental health really drags you down and stresses you out, it can make us look older than we actually are. And if you
That's
don't do
correct.
nothing fitness wise, so of course I'm always into fitness and health and what you eat. Like, so what's your diet like? I got to ask, is that on point, or are you still trying to get that together?
Well, I am definitely trying to get that together. I'm about 90% there, but I'm
Okay.
so every Friday, I love chicken, man. So
Oh
every
yeah.
Friday I reward myself with a little Popeyes, right? So
Okay, okay.
I
Ain't
do a
nothing
little
wrong with that.
Popeyes, but I'm about 90% there. I could tell you this when it's all about how
Hmm.
you look at things. I watched a movie called Game Changers,
Yeah.
and my God, you got to watch it. So I went for about 2 months plant
Mm.
based. My God,
Oh
I
yeah.
was doing 12 miles a day.
So,
It has so much energy, but the human mind, brother,
oh
is
yeah.
is a weird thing. Why would I turn back from that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I went back on my own principle, right?
Mm.
Intercept ignorance. So
Mm.
all these people around me, oh my God, how do you living on plant based? You getting so skinny. You did
Mm.
it, and it started to affect me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went off it, right? And so come back January, I'm going back on it. And all those people, when they keep telling me I'm gonna have to get rid of them, I'm serious because
Oh.
I felt that was last year. I felt, oh my God,
Oh. So
I was
that's
going
the
to the
biggest
gym
thing.
3 times a day.
That was the
I
biggest
would have so
thing
much energy.
I
Yeah,
looked at too. Is that um going plant-based and stuff like that, because I go 3 times a day myself. But I had looked at it at the biggest outcome for me was that my dad passing away, right? And I knew what he
hmm,
passed away from, a heart disease. But we got to look
yeah,
at it, especially being African Americans. We have to start looking at more of our health as far as what we eat, because of the simple fact that
yes,
a lot of us suffer from diabetes and heart disease. So it's what we
yeah,
put in our body. I think food is our medicine. So if you plant based,
absolutely,
that's definitely you. I can tell, me being plant based myself. You have a lot of energy,
yep,
and
that's
people don't
right.
understand that. That when you eating that fast food and all that good stuff, you want to go take a nap after that.
No, for sure, for sure, for
But
sure,
yeah,
for
but I tell
sure.
you this, I appreciate you for taking your time out of your busy schedule. Like Jay-Z said, you could be anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me today. So
Yes, sir. That's
again,
because you inspire me, brother. I look
uh,
at your stuff all the time.
I appreciate it,
Gotta be
sir.
honest with you. I mean, I get a lot of requests for podcasts. I
Oh
go
yeah.
check them out, and if it's just intercepting ignorance, it don't look like you're doing nothing. I ain't doing nothing with you.
I was actually
So
that's why I say I have to thank you a lot, because I actually was like, man, 4 degrees and two, man. I'm sitting here like, man, I got some college under my belt, but I was like, man, I said, then I was like, you know what, let me just come how I come. I'm not gonna
yeah,
sugarcoat
absolutely,
or be fake. So I appreciate you for
absolutely.
coming out. And to all my listeners, hey, rewind this track, and make sure you get he put a lot of sauce, he put a lot of all gas, no brakes in here. And basically, if you don't take nothing out of what we learned, what we heard today was, hey, just discipline, 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 and stop beating yourself up, and know that use your time wisely. If Mr.
Yes,
Shabazz, Dr. Shabazz, can do all this through a span of years, and he said it best when he said that he took 30 years to mess up his life, and he's going to take the next 30 years to fix it. Guess what? If you have the time, every day you work up, if you have time, you start over. I think it was a quote you
yes,
said the other day. I think I heard Jay Prince say it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he said that you have it's a chance and a choice, a
that's
chance
right.
and a choice.
Yes,
So
sir.
other than that,
Every day.
I appreciate you for coming out, sir. All gas, no brakes, and we're gonna
And
go
thank
ahead and
you,
get
and
up
thank
out
you,
here.
and thank you for your personal courage every day, man. Stay motivated.
Yes,
Peace.
sir. Oof.